In this episode, Donna Presley shares rare insight into Elvis's private world. From Priscilla to Ann-Margret, from Christmas at Graceland to the truth behind the rumours, she answers the questions you have asked with clarity and honesty, speaking straight from her heart. Introducing Donna Presley.
Hello everyone, I'm Donna Presley and I'd like to welcome you to the Donna Presley official YouTube channel. Today's another Q&A. So let's get started. You ask the questions, I'll give the answers. Okay, here is from White Heifer. Okay, there's been a lot of stories of Elvis having been admitted into the hospital a couple of times, and it was inferred the reason was to attend to a drug problem. Could you clarify this for us, please? Thank you. Okay, here goes. My mom and I visited Elvis a couple of times in the hospital while he was there. He was there for medical conditions. It was not a drying out. It was not a drug rehab or anything like that. As I said before, he had a lot of medical problems, glaucoma, enlarged colon, enlarged heart, all kinds of gastric problems, and he had a lot of medical conditions. And, these things are very, very painful from what I understand, especially an enlarged colon can be extremely painful. It keeps you from going to the bathroom. It causes you all kinds of serious pain. So he was there just for medical reasons. It had nothing to do with any kind of drug problem or anything like that. It was strictly health-wise. So thank you for asking that. Okay. This is from EP58717. Hi, Donna. Do you think Elvis should have married Linda Thompson instead of Priscilla? I heard she was a really kind person from an Elvis inner circle. And do you have a particular favorite memory of when Elvis and Linda were together? Actually, EP58717, I don't think Elvis probably should have married anybody. He was a type of man that he was multifaceted, and he had many things going on at one time. You know, he's very creative. He was very spiritual. He was had a lot of seeking and searching that he wanted to do. And it took many different people with many different levels to hold his interest and to connect with him on different levels. And yes, I think that Linda she's always been very nice to me. We saw each other when she and Elvis were together, but we didn't like hang out together and that kind of thing. But since then, of course, as adults, as grown women together, we've been together several times, and she's always been very nice to me, and I have her. So yes, she is a nice person. As far as a favorite memory of when Elvis and Linda were together, the only memory that I can think of that really I remember from a very strong viewpoint was when she and Elvis came into Grandma's room, and they'd been out the pool, and I was sitting there with Grandma, and I had my oldest son there. He was 3 months old, and Elvis came over and kissed me on top of the head and asked me who it was, and I said, well, this is my son. So he said, can I play with him? And I said, yes, of course. So he said, can I hold him? I said, of course you can. So he picked him up and he took him over to the chair, and he was bouncing him on the knee and kissing him on the back of the neck and playing with him. And of course, Elvis had a nickname for everyone, and mine was Donnie, which is what he always called me. And he said, okay, I'm going to name you Little Elmer Fudd, because that was his nickname. And when he did that, he said, so what's his real name? And I said, Stacy Aaron. And he stopped. And he looked at me and he said, that's my name. And I smiled. I know this, Elvis. I named him after you. And he was so overcome with emotion that tears welled up in his eyes. And he didn't want to get emotional. And so he said, okay, so how do you spell it? And I said, A-A-R-O-N. He said, that's right. And to show you Elvis's mindset about family and keeping family close and taking care of family, He looked down at my 3-month-old son and he said, "Stacy, when you get to be 18, you come see your old cuz, and I'll put you to work." So that's a very special memory to me. Although Linda was there, it was strictly a moment between Elvis and myself. But yeah, that's a very cool memory for me and something that means a great deal to me. So thank you for asking. This is from Christy. "Hi, Donna. I absolutely love your channel and appreciate you sharing the truth about Elvis." Thank you so much, Christy. That means a great deal to me. It really does. My mom introduced me to Elvis's music when I was a little girl, and I have loved him ever since. I have 2 questions for you. 1, what was it like on Christmas Day with Elvis, and did he have a favorite meal on this day? Honestly, I don't remember what we ate. That was a while back. Usually it was like ham or something like that, and it was just all kinds of food, all kinds of desserts and everything like that. So it was always a really great home-cooked Southern meal. So I can tell you that. But it was always fun. There was always presents stacked halfway to the ceiling, of course, and it was just a great amount of fun, and Elvis loved it. He loved giving presents, and he loved watching the look on everyone's face when they opened theirs. So it was very, very, very special. And did Elvis share his experience going to the White House to visit with President Nixon with his family? If yes, what was the visit like? Actually, he never spoke to me about it. I'm sure he probably did Grandma, because Grandma was his greatest confidant, and he talked to her about everything. But he didn't say anything to me. But I think it's one of the coolest things ever that you could actually walk to you could be Elvis Presley and walk into the White House and just, there you go. And then give him a gun as well. So couldn't do that today, but I thought it was a really cool thing. Thank you for the question. Okay. Hello, beautiful Donna. Oh, how sweet. Thank you very much. Please, may I ask, how much time did you spend with Priscilla? Well, actually, Bonnie, when we were younger, we spent quite a bit of time together because I was there in the summertime, and she was there at the house, and most of the time Elvis was away, either filming or whatever, and so she and I would spend quite a bit of time together when we were, young. I've known her since I was about 14, and so she would have been 18 or 19 at that time. So we went places together. We went to Liberty Land and, went shopping and did other things. We went to church together. One time I went to her church, which was a Catholic church, Immaculate Conception, and she went to my church, which was Assembly of God. And so we both kind of got a culture shock both ways there. But I spent quite a bit of time with her when we were teenagers, yes. And of course, when she was married to Elvis, I spent time around her at that time. So thanks for the question. This is from Keith. Donna, I sent you a question from my home in New Jersey. I wanted to ask how Elvis's health was and how was he feeling when you last talked to him in 1977. Well, he seemed to be, I saw him, a week or 2 before he passed away. And that was just, I was going into Graceland and he was in the kitchen, and I walked through the kitchen going to Grandma's room. But, I spoke to him and he seemed to be okay. He seemed to be in good spirits and looking forward to the tour. So he was, certainly didn't expect to happen what happened. I just didn't see it. And unfortunately, I don't guess anybody did. Thank you for the question. Hi, Donna. You are so beautiful and humble. Oh, well, wow. That's quite a compliment. Thank you very much. This is from Bubby. I was wondering if you have read the book, A Child Bride. Is it the true Priscilla? She failed a lie detector test about this book. No, I have not read Child Bride. I usually don't read a lot of books in regards to Elvis or anything, because a lot of it's, if it's pertaining to Elvis, so much of it's not true. However, I don't know about the book of Child Bride. I have not read it. I do understand. I think that Curry Grant, I believe, wrote it. If this is correct, and that he was the one that actually introduced Priscilla to Elvis. So since I haven't read it, I can't really make a comment about whether it's true or not. So sorry. This is from Vegan 3650. Have you talked about Ann-Margret? I wonder why he didn't marry her. They seemed like a good match, but then she married Roger. Well, you know, Ann and Roger were at Elvis's funeral, and that was the first time that I actually met her. She was heartbroken, and you could tell she really had tremendous, deep feelings about Elvis. I know he did her. I think they would have made a great match. I really do. But, you know, it just didn't work out, and she went on to marry Roger, and from all accounts, they seemed to be very much in love and very, very happy together. But he was there with her at the funeral and was very loving and supportive, and so, yeah, that was the first time I'd actually met her. So thank you for the question. It says, this is from Roger is my name. Was Uncle Vernon strict, and was Elvis nervous of him? Thanks in advance. Uncle Vernon could be very strict, very stern at times, but that was because he wanted so much to, Elvis was his only child, and he wanted to protect Elvis and take care of him and protect him from others who he perceived to be taking advantage of Elvis. And that happened quite often, unfortunately. But yeah, he could be strict. He could be stern at times. But that was just because he lived through some really hard times in his life, and he wanted to protect his child and make sure that, as any good parent does, that your children don't suffer the same consequences and problems that you do, and that you've learned from what's gone on in your life, and you want to pass that knowledge on to your children, which I do every day to my children and grandchildren. But he could be stern, but you know what? He was funny, he was intelligent, he was caring. And, Uncle Vernon gave me a piece of advice one time. It's when I was working with him at the office. And I was talking to him about a problem I was having. And, I asked him for his advice. And he said, well, Donnie, the best advice I can give you is to weigh the pros and the cons. Look at both sides. See which one outweighs the other. And then make your decision. But when you make your decision, be woman enough to stand behind it. I never forgot that, because I thought that was very, very profound. So I always remember that. But he was very loving and kind and funny, as well as being strict at times and stern. So thank you. I loved him very much. Okay. Donna, was George Klein a real friend to Elvis? Well, they had known each other for many, many years, and George was always around, so most accounts I would say, that they were very, very good friends, and he wrote the foreword in my mom's book, One Flower While I Live, so I appreciate that very much, and so I would say they were close friends. Okay. I always thought Billy Smith was the most loyal cousin to Elvis, but I have seen him in interviews talking about Elvis's hygiene issues toward the end of his life, and that changed my mind quickly. In my opinion, the only Memphis Mafia member that was loyal to Elvis and never betrayed him afterwards is Jerry Schilling. Do you have any thoughts on him you can share with us? To be very honest with you, I think that probably Charlie Hodge was the closest friend of the Memphis Mafia that Elvis had. I think that he deeply loved Elvis. He never betrayed him in any shape, form, or fashion. He never spoke badly of him, and he was a very true and loving and loyal friend. See? Okay. I haven't read any of the Memphis Mafia books because it was obvious they were competing for Elvis's attention, which in turn made them feel important. Yes, there are some of them that loved him, but publishers add or subtract a lot of things. And have you read the fairly new book about Parker? And what do you think about it? No, I have not read the new book about Colonel Parker. As I said, I don't read a lot of these books because so much of them are not based on what I saw as a family member. I can't comment on career or anything like that about Elvis because I didn't travel with him. I wasn't in that realm. But I do know the family, and I do know the man Elvis, so I can comment on that. So thank you. Okay. How come you were so hidden for all these years? There's nothing better than you. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Well, you know, I had my life. I was living. I was married. I had 2 sons that I was raising, and you know, I just kept behind the scenes mostly for many, many years. And then, you know, a few years ago, you know, 20 years ago, I actually started talking about Elvis and speaking out. And then I went away for about 10 years and didn't say anything, just kept, you know, living my life and going through some difficult times that I was having. But then I came back in about 2017, and I'm doing this full time now, and wanting to know the truth about Elvis and the family and what he was like, and getting that truth out there and dispelling some of the myths and some of the stories that have been told that are not true, that have been perpetrated over the last 48 years. So that's why I'm doing this now, and that's why I speak now. So thank you so much. That'll be the end of our question and answer today, but thank you for joining me. And remember, if people are unkind to you and say bad things to you, what they see in you is what they are lacking in themselves. And so you just keep shining, and don't let their hatred get to you. Just keep shining. See you soon. God bless.
Thank you for being here. Your presence, your questions, and your loyalty make this work possible. If you would like to stay with Donna on this path of truth and remembrance, please subscribe and join her for the next episode.